strategically stupid because when Kevin McCarthy got ousted, he left. And a few other Republicans left with him. Right? So now their majority was whatever it was, 221 to 214 or 13, whatever it is. That went down. So now they only had a 3-person majority under Mike Johnson. So he barely has a majority. He loses 3 votes on the Republican side and he's fucked. Right? Well, now 2 other members of Congress have left recently. And so they're down to a 1-vote majority, and she's pulling this shit. So we're going to get into this because Mike Gallagher just decided to quit recently, and he doubly fucked him. It's hilarious.
Thank you for staying with us. I'm Caroline Dave.
And I'm Amber Noggle. Tonight, we are following a developing story after one of Wisconsin's congressmen announced he's resigning.
Republican Mike Gallagher says he'll leave the U.S. House of Representatives next month. That means Republicans will only have a 1-vote majority.
New at 4, political reporter Darielle Fair has you covered on why Gallagher says he's stepping down.
Wisconsin Republican Congressman Mike Gallagher represents the 8th congressional district. That's up near Green Bay. Gallagher confirmed last month he would not be seeking re-election. Now he says he's leaving Congress even earlier. Gallagher's term was set to end next January, but in a statement he released today, he said, quote, "After conversations with my family, I have made the decision to resign from my position effective April 19, 2024. Going on to say he was working with Republican leadership in the House to appoint a new chair to serve on the Chinese Communist Party subcommittee. Gallagher's decision to vacate his seat is yet another blow to House Speaker Mike Johnson, further narrowing majorities for the GOP conference in the House. Republican Representative Ken Burke of Colorado is set to leave Congress this week, cutting the GOP's majority down to 218 seats, with the Democratic caucus maintaining its 213 seats. Once Gallagher leaves, it will bring that number down to 217, meaning Republicans would have just 1 deciding seat on any vote if all House Democrats vote along party lines.
So now they can only lose 1, maybe, 2, maybe 1 Republican vote, right? And now they're screwed. Because the Democrats with the independents now are only 1 vote behind. So they started with a narrow majority under Biden's second half of Biden's first term, right? They've gotten nothing done, and they've hemorrhaged members because of their own infighting. That's what's been going on.
Wow.
You frickin' idiot.
Gee, right? I mean, if somehow the Democrats become the majority just because of this insanity, I mean, I can't even hardly finish a sentence on that. That seems so out there, but at the same time, it kind of seems possible.
Yeah, it could be that. It could be in a month or 2, Hakeem Jeffries is the Speaker of the House. I mean, and Mike Johnson gets ousted because the Democrats take power. Because they just can't keep their shit together. I mean, it's just amazing. And it's really funny because Gallagher, so he's from Wisconsin. So this is the interesting thing about this. So in Wisconsin, if during an election year, if one of their House speakers like dies or quits or can't serve anymore, whatever reason, as long as it happens before the second Thursday in April of the election year, they have to appoint somebody new to cover until the election, right? So they just appoint another Republican. So they wouldn't be losing that seat. They'd still get another guy. So
he's doing it just after that.
Right. So the second Tuesday in April, is the April 18th, and Gallagher's leaving April 19th. So right at the day after the deadline, so they can't appoint somebody new.
It kind of seems like that is sort of on purpose.
It is. I'm guessing that's just a big fuck you. And this is This is not like a moderate. This is a right-wing Republican, and he's following the lead of Ken Buck, who announced his retirement recently, and he was going to retire anyway, but he just decided to up and leave. And so this is Ken Buck. Let me see. Yeah. So here's Ken Buck, and he's going to talk a little bit about this. Ken Buck decided to leave, and this guy's a far right wing. This guy's a Tea Party guy. That's how he got into Congress. And he's so fed up with the MAGA people. That's how far right they are. They're further than the Tea Party.
Meantime, Ken Buck, who has been on this program on a number of occasions and who has sometimes broken with his party of Republicans, is just talking about the fact that this hearing is a symbol of the dysfunction in Washington. And although we knew he was not going to run for re-election, he has just put out a statement. What does it say, Julie?
Yeah, exactly. He put out a statement, Chris, and this is really notable because, again, this makes Republicans' margins even smaller. Now, I'm a journalist. I'm not that good at math, so we'll calculate those margins later on, but they were already really tight before he made this announcement. He did write in part, "It has been an honor to serve the people of Colorado's 4th District." He said, "Today I am announcing that I will depart Congress at the end of next week. I look forward to staying involved in our political process as well as spending more time in Colorado."
So basically, I was going to stay till the end of the year, but you pissed me off, so fuck it, I'm gone. That's what it was. So he's leaving, Gallagher's leaving, so now they're down to one.
Right. He's like, I'm not going to help you hold this line anymore. I'm kind of over it.
No, and this guy's far, far right. This guy was against COVID relief. I mean, he's way out there, far right. But they asked him about why he was leaving, and he says it's because of the dysfunction and stuff. And they said it was kind of to fuck over the Republican Party. I think part of it was and part of it wasn't. But I want to watch this little clip from News Nation, which is a far right-wing station, where they interview him about this, because I think this is funny.
That was you then. That was in 2010. Now I want you to hear from a version of yourself. Maybe the hair is a little lighter, but the same dude. Let's listen to you more recently.
Too many Republican leaders are lying to America, claiming that the 2020 election was stolen, describing January 6th as an unguided tour of the Capitol, and asserting that the ensuing prosecutions are a weaponization of our justice system.
Now, Congressman, you've been in Washington long enough to be familiar with the concept of strange new respect. And strange new respect is when somebody who people on one side used to think was the worst starts agreeing with them on something, or they say something critical of their own side, and suddenly there's strange new respect. So I got to know, in the course of 13 years that you went from being laughed at by Bob Schieffer as an extremist to a point where you're being held up as a role model, as an example of thoughtful, restrained republicanism. What changed? Did you change? Did the party change? Did politics change? Take us on the journey.
Great question, because I haven't changed. My goal is still to reduce federal spending and reduce the national debt, our annual deficit. What has changed, the world around me has changed dramatically. We've gone from a time when the Tea Party stood for conservative principles, for constitutional principles, to a time where the populists have taken over the Republican Party and are really advocating things that I believe are very dangerous. The Tea Party was a group of individuals who believed that the Constitution should be strictly adhered to, sort of grew out of the Obamacare time frame when federal health care was being federalized and people were scared. Now we are into this, we'll play by the same rules as the other side, and we'll burn down the building just like the other side. It scares me.
So
no, he's far right. This guy was against any sort of government health care. Wanted it to all be privatized, wanted it to be way too expensive.
I have to say, though, whether you agree with his politics or not, his point feels pretty valid that, like, he maybe really didn't change. I mean, this is not somebody I really know, but maybe he really didn't change, but it's all kind of gone bonkers, you know?
There's
I feel like there's truth in the idea that some of these Republicans that I'm unlikely to agree with on things, but some of these Republicans have to be looking around and being like, how did all these nutbags end up over here? You know, where they maybe really are still agreeing with the same things they always agreed with, but everybody around them seems to be different, you know?
Right. Well, that's kind of my point is this guy, when he got into office, everybody said he's a freaking nutbag. And now they're too crazy for him, and that's part of the reason why he's leaving. The main reason why he's leaving is this, is he's already secured his multi-million-dollar next job. So why am I staying in Congress making $174,000 a year when I can go take my multi-million-dollar job now? I was going to stay till the end of the year just for posterity's sake and all that, but now you guys have pissed me off, so fuck it, I'm out. I'm going to go take my money and run. That's what it is. That's what changed. What changed is he's getting his big payday, his big golden parachute. And that's why he's leaving. It's not any principle. He's just fucking irritated with dealing with them. And he's leaving. He's just, I'm done. There's no point in staying. And so they drove him out, and he's just as crazy as they are. I mean, this is a guy who literally doesn't want you to have health care. His literal position on the world is, I got mine, fuck you. And that's what he's doing right now.
Yeah, but like, if they've become, the people around him have become too crazy for him, and he was once upon a time our crazy guy there, like, that's gotta be saying something.
Absolutely.
And I'm inclined to actually believe him that they've kind of gotten too crazy for him. Like, I don't feel like he's really making that up. I think he really feels that way. Absolutely. You know?
Absolutely.
So that's some really weird perspective. So I feel like I always sound like I say the same thing every damn week, Duncan. I'm always like, oh my God, the news. It just keeps getting weirder. I mean, but it kind of does.
No.
You know, how is the crazy guy in Congress now kind of not? I mean, like, comparatively, you know?
Well, wait. We've joked about that many times. We were like, you remember when we thought George W. Bush was going to be the worst president ever? How naive were we?
I remember back in that day. Right. I remember back in that day being like, what the hell has happened to this country? Why on God's green earth are people electing the village idiot? Like, I had very, very strong and not kind things to say about that.
Right.
But now when I look at it, it's like, I would be so happy, like, if my two choices were like him and Trump. I like hands down.
I'd vote for Bush.
You know,
you'd have to vote for Bush
all day long. I'd vote for him.
You'd have to hold your nose.
You know,
to do it,
and
but...
so that just shows you how weird it's all gotten. If you would have told then me that I would ever say something like, oh yeah, I'd vote for Bush all day long, I would have thought you'd lost your mind.
Yeah. That's how low our expectations
and here
are.
Saying that.
That's how low the bar has gotten. Yep, that's how low Trump has gotten the bar. That Bush just trips over it. I mean, Jesus. But anyway, so that was Ken Buck and Gallagher. They're gone pretty soon here. I think Buck's gone into this week, and then Gallagher's next month. But yeah, we'll see. There have been a couple other Republicans threatening to leave. And if they do, then it's a tie vote. And if two of them leave, then congratulations, House Speaker Hakeem Jeffries.
So,
bye, Mike.
So, I'm guessing that Green didn't get any support from anybody on this ousting thing. What?
She's gonna get some, but it's all the nut jobs. Yeah. It's all the nut jobs, but